Good morning, High Desert Center for Spiritual Living on Paradise Boulevard. I'd like to thank Kamatari and Ken Johnson, the High Desert Ensemble. Thanks. Let's give them another round of applause. I am always so inspired by the music we have here. It just sends us off through the whole week, and we take that with us throughout the whole week. And what I also bring today is some of us may have been at the feast dance up at the Haymes. Very close. It's so close. And to bring that energy of the Haymes people home, and to know that we have the dancing that goes on in our hearts, and to celebrate, it was the corn feast, and to know that we're always nourished and in this season of gratitude, and in the season of harvest. So we're in a season of gratitude. And what I know from the feast dance is my friend Gerald, I saw that he was on Facebook, and so there's Gerald, and he came from Hopi, and I didn't know he was here in town, and he comes to some of the dances and the celebrations at the Pueblo from Hopi, and I did not know he was here. And it's much like having a storehouse of good. Well, now that he knows that I'm here, we'll know to connect next time, because we're already connected, and he brought that energy to the people there, and he brings that energy home to his people. So now that Gerald and I know where we are, it's like you are here in the universe, we are here. So I know that he's always there, no matter if we had connected or not. We're in a season of gratitude. And on your chairs, there is a card. And we had made a commitment as a community for the 30 days in November to give thanks and to write a handwritten note with a postage stamp each day. A handwritten note. Everybody ready to continue doing that? Yes? Yes? So what I know is I'm passionate about this, and I'm going to invite us to carry it around with us, and to begin to look, to stop, look, and listen to what we're grateful for, to use this as a tool, to use this as a vehicle from which we can look for what we're grateful for. And so if we do a handwritten note every day, and we have a book of the month by John Kralik, who he had found himself in dire circumstances, and he rose up from the challenges. He rose up from his pain into joy by writing a note each day of the year. And our book is 365 Thank Yous. And it's how a simple act of a gratitude note can change our life. Simple. Sometimes it's very simple, and we get to be very simple. Has anyone seen Harry Potter or read the books? Yes? Do you remember that Gringotts Wizarding Bank was there? And that it was this vault that Harry Potter did not know existed until he realized that he was a wizard within, until he realized his value was already within him, and that he could access this vault. So what he discovered was, in living with Harry and I are on a first name basis. Harry was a very rich boy, but he lived in a cupboard. There he was, living in this lowly place where he lived in a cupboard underneath the stairs. And it was not until he started living as a wizard that he accessed that vault, that storehouse of good that was within him, and to simply look for his good. So Gringotts Wizardry Bank was already there. He could bank on it. He knew that there was a trustworthy place that he could rely upon, and set his reliance upon that. And how often are we looking for mystical moments in our life? And to know that we're already in connection, and that we're already unified with this storehouse of good. And yeah, our feelings are there throughout the day, but if we go through life just addressing our feelings, think about that. If we go through life just being at effect and just addressing feeling, there's that place where it may not bring about a lot of workability. However, if we realize that we have that inner vault, that inner richness, that place of richness and that feeling place that we can come from, of a place of wholeness and well-being. And I'll use an example in my personal life is someone came to me and said I was falling short in every area. In every area I was falling short. And instead of externalizing it like we would, like in the movies or on television, or we would externalize something, I took ownership of what that was for me. And I came from a place of strength and courage. And in order to change and shift, and whatever, maybe not even call it bad, but to call it whatever that challenge may have been, but to welcome that conversation. Oh, I'm falling short in every area. Let me welcome that. Let me take from that the value so that then I can bring that. And so let me encompass that and embrace that so I can be even more faithful about my life, even more grateful about my life and the gifts that I have to share. So we all have strengths and we all have gifts. And I may give some gifts and it may not be received. And yeah, it's disappointing. Yeah, I could take that and I could blame or externalize whatever that is, or I could defend, or I could justify, or make whatever that would be wrong. So what if I looked in my life that really nothing is wrong? That it's all a part of this journey, and to welcome in those aspects, to welcome that strength and to welcome that warm embrace, knowing that I have all of the resources available in this bank already, and being faithful and grateful that yes, I have strengths, yes, I have gifts, and to really honor that within myself, and to really honor that within others as well. And to not resist that, or to not refuse whatever that gift looked like. To not refuse it, to not regret it, to not resent it, but to say, I welcome that and I want to embrace the peace that's available within my heart. And sure, it might be painful at first. Sure, I can move from whatever that challenge is into joy. And to be about joy, it's like, come on, let's be more about joy. And to be able to move through and know that we have those mystical moments in our life where we can be even more faithful and grateful. So if I had that as my music this week, I can be faithful, and I can be grateful, and I can be inspired. And to know that I have resources, and to be a good steward of those resources. There's some passenger pigeons and some zebras and all kinds of things that are no longer on the planet. And those are resources. But to know that as we're good stewards of this life that we have, as we're good stewards of our thoughts and our feelings, as we're good stewards of our actions, and to know that we come from a true place of giving, of this faithfulness and this gratitude, I can look around for an opening. Much like the cards, the thank you cards, I can look around for an opening to be faithful and grateful. I can look around and know that I can carry around in my mind this search and this finding of these moments of connection, and to give thanks for people, and to give thanks for my own self, my own heart. You know, and it's real easy to externalize. It's natural. It's natural to externalize that. But rather, let's embrace whatever that is. Let's embrace whatever that experience is, whether it's in my health, whether it's in my bank account, whether it's in my intimate relationships, whether it's in my inner circle of friends, whether it's in my outer circle of friends, whether it's in the neighborhood that I live. To know that we can bring that gift of that wholeheartedness, and to know that there's that place that we can shift whatever's challenging. We can shift whatever's painful and rise up from that, much like a phoenix, just rise up from that in our lives and be faithful and be grateful. A good friend of mine who I've known for decades, and I want to say it's the early 80s, and since I'm only 29, yeah, and counting, yeah, actually, my former sister-in-law has kids that are now older than she is. She always says she's 29, but now she has kids that are older than she is. There's a friend of mine, and she's currently the president of the Affiliated New Thought Network, ANTN, and her name's Reverend Dr. Carol Lawson. And she has a Center for Conscious Living in Morristown, New Jersey. So she has the whole East Coast and, frankly, the world covered with a lot of conscious living. So she's a real powerful woman, and we were in a mastermind group for quite a few years and supporting each other on a weekly basis, doing our prayers, doing our affirmations, doing visioning, all those kinds of wonderful things that enliven our life. So I know her and I love her. In fact, her husband helped me buy my first car. That was an experience too. I'll save that one for later. So the Lawson family, they've been close and near and dear to my heart. And when I saw on Facebook that her son-in-law was held at gunpoint, and he's an emergency room physician in Houston and lives in this really posh enclave, things become really clear when people are held at gunpoint. And what it became for him is a lesson in forgiveness and paying it forward. And so what we'll show you the clip really briefly it was on Fox News, Fox and Friends. But just know that there's this place where we can be faithful and grateful. And while his two children, who are 11 and 3-year-old, were out watching a video in a car, he voluntarily had them hold him, and these men had been delivering. They posed themselves as delivering a package, and there was a housekeeper who was there who let them in the door, delivering a package. So it delivered a lot more than that. It delivered a place to be faithful and grateful, and to wake up that there's a place of forgiveness and paying it forward that we all have, and that we don't have to be held at gunpoint in order for that to happen. So let's show you this clip.
Story has so many of you talking this morning. A Texas man held up at gunpoint, tied up and robbed inside his home, and now he's offering cash for college for the suspects.
Yeah, these police sketches are the folks that the people are looking for. He wants them to turn themselves in, and if he does that, he's going to give them college tuition. Dr. Victor Ho is joining us now. He's the victim of that home invasion. Nice to see you this morning, Doctor. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Clayton.
All right, before we get to the college tuition, tell us what happened when these two guys broke into your home.
Well, I was returning home with my oldest daughter, Michaela, 11-year-old, and then my 3-year-old, Torin. And from school, they got home a little early. I had picked them up, and when they were watching a video in the car. I went in, and that's when the assailant came running around. I saw him at a distance. Our house has a bunch of glass. And I heard the slide of the gun. And I knew the sound for several reasons, one of which is I'm medical director of the Jefferson County SWAT team in Texas. And so my medical training and part of my SWAT training is you know about weapons. And I heard the sound, and I'm like, it's one of those, oh my goodness moments. He came around the corner, had the gun in my head. And at that point, I'm sitting there going, my kids, what to do, bad situation. He initially said he wasn't going to shoot me. He wasn't going to kill me. I walked over and I saw my safe, which was his goal, in my front foyer. And at that point, another masked gentleman, they were all wearing ski masks at that time, came around the corner, and he held me while the other guy attempted to open my safe. Then he finally said, open your safe. Wow. And so, when you got a gun to your head, you make the decisions. And opened the safe, and they got what they needed. They then tied me up, and they left. Mm-hmm. During this time period, you asked about my life experiences as an emergency physician, and then my training, my SWAT training, all kick in, and you notice the mannerisms of the people around you, and I knew kind of what to look for. Hopefully
wait a second, because you talk about the mannerisms here. Now, one of those kids seemed reluctant to be involved in this, right? And I guess, is that what sort of prompted you to go down this education path, offering tuition instead of calling the police and saying, you know what, lock these guys up for life?
Yes. I mean, I called 911, but this is the aftermath when you're thinking, how can we one, get this element off the street? How can I get the guns that they stole? They took some of my guns too. How can I get this off the street? And we're thinking, pay it forward. This was a young kid. And I could tell he was nervous. He was speaking in Spanish and he was telling his partners, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. I could tell he was shaking when he was holding me. That's the person I'm really targeting this for.
Dr. Holtz,
get an education.
Yes, and so many people say, wow, that's amazing, nice thing to do, turn the other cheek and love your enemies, love the people that are even hurting you and try to better them. But other folks are going, this sends completely the wrong message. They have this terrible behavior and then you're rewarding them with education. So why do it?
Well, it's not really a reward. This is, you need to turn yourself in. You need to face what you've done. This is a small element right now, and we're hoping to maybe expand this in the thought that if you've committed a crime, but why are you doing this crime? What can we do to help you? You are probably in the wrong environment, socioeconomically. You were growing up. You're probably peer pressure, etc. All these bad elements. We want to better you. I believe in the goodness in people too.
And you think that can come through,
the fact
getting a college degree? I mean, many of our viewers writing in this morning say you really can't change the moral underpinnings, the moral behavior beneath all this.
It's not necessarily a college degree; it's an education. I mean, if they, we, my wife and I, Ariel, we want to get them something beyond where they are right now. Go to a trade school, we'll pay for that. If they go to college, so be it. If they go to medical school, I would be applauding them. Take this element that doesn't think they have anything they can do with their life and make it so that they have hope. This is not something to reward someone that has committed a crime. This is pointing at society and trying to say, listen, we need to try to get some of these elements out. What's the best way? Education, education. That's where I am today, and I push that to all my kids.
Well, Doctor, if people want to help, here's how they can try to find these guys. First of all, who to call with information. Call the Memorial Villages Police Department. It's right here on your screen. The department number there is 713-365-3700. Ask for Detective Falks. His number is 713-365-3758. Thank you, Doctor. We appreciate you joining us this morning. Good luck, and hopefully check in with you, and hopefully we get a resolution to this story. We'd love to have you back on.
I hope so, too. Thank you.
And we're glad you're safe after that, too. Thanks, Doctor.
So we think about the circumstances in our life and the elements that are not working for us, those elements that we can then take the high road. And to know that there's forgiveness, to know that there's another way to look at things, another way to move beyond, and to move forward in our life with that sense of strength, and to know that there is that place that's within us, like the vault at Green Guts Bank. There is the vault that has all of that power and all that source, and so much to be grateful for. The singer-songwriter Jamie Lula, he talks about, I've got so much more to be grateful for than to be sorry for. So much more, and there's that equation. So as we have that, we have so much more to be grateful for, to be faithful and to be grateful for. So that's how we're rolling in this season. That's how we're rolling, taking that high road and say, wow, let me give you a $250,000 education. Why not? Let's have you rise up out of those elements of whatever that place is, rising up out of that upbringing, rise up out of that past into this very present future, this very optimistic future, to be faithful and grateful, to have an attitude of gratitude. To have this place where, in other words, we know that we can live in that consciousness of that there is enough. There are enough resources. To know that we can align ourselves with the natural good of the universe, and knowing that we can access more and more and more and more of the good, of the goodness. And even Dr. Ho said, I believe in the goodness. I believe that deep down there is that untouched place. There is that place that is within these thieves who held me at gunpoint. So let's align ourselves with the natural good of the universe and let's access more of this good. Well, how do we do that? We can look for the openings with those cards. We can be grateful for the simplicity in our life of that which is breathing and walking, to know that we're thankful that we're alive and that we're looking through this lens of our heart and our eyes, and to be grateful and to be faithful. We can be grateful for ourselves. We can be grateful that we have a sound mind. We can be grateful for our hearing. We can be grateful for our feeling. We can be grateful for those ways. And to know that that paves the way for even more good. We can also make a list. So after we know that we have this lens that we're looking for with this card, we can also begin to make a list, whether that's being thankful for our children, thankful for our grandchildren, thankful for our parents, thankful for our job, our health, thankful for money, knowing that we also have a plethora of skills and gifts that we give. So after making this list, we can make an affirmation. We can affirm, do that which is life-affirming. And to come from that place of that which is life-affirming. And we can also do an affirmative prayer. This afternoon at 12:30 with Kamatara Johnson and I, we're looking forward to doing life visioning, and it's worthwhile for all areas in envisioning our life. What is the highest and best? And it could be that we're dancing, much like that corn fest, the feast day that we have, that feast and that harvest that's within our life. We can go into our daily activity being grateful for our family, that the 3-year-old and the 11-year-old were out in the vehicle safe, watching a video, rather than being in the household. And to know that he stood up for his family and he let them tie him up instead of other people being at risk. Aren't you glad that our life isn't that dramatic? You know, and to be grateful for that. Be grateful that we have the safety and the security. I had a thank you note this week. It said, thank you for being sturdy and constant and joyful, and thank you for your innate cheer. And that something like that could be on our cards that we give to someone else. It could be that we have that card for ourselves, too. We don't have to wait for the tooth fairy to come and, retrieve it or sneak it under our pillow, anything. There's no need to wait. So we can go into our daily activity with gratitude and anticipation of good and anticipate more good. At night, we can take an inventory of that which is good in our life and be grateful. Edwin Gaines, who we saw recently speak, talks about a man who was pretty much in dire straits. And he got to say, thank you, I'm rich. I'm grateful I'm rich. And at the same time, his condition looked like he was in need. What he did was he knew that all needs were met. All of his needs were met. And what he began to do was to get a bottle of Windex at the dollar store. Anyone been at the dollar store? Yeah. He got a bottle of Windex, and he began to wash people's windows for free. And when he had seen Edwin about a year earlier, he was wearing like a Timex. Keeps on ticking. He was wearing a Timex. And the next year later, he told her this story, and he was wearing a Rolex. He began to wash windows for free, to give a gift just out of his passion. He moved from his place of pain and rose up in his passion. And he gathered people along the way. Now he's a multimillionaire within 1 year's time. 1 year. 365 days. 1 year. And he has 17 people working for him in a multi-million-dollar company cleaning windows. He had the energy, and other people came on board, and they were inspired by what he gave he saw a need. And he knew that all of his needs were met. And he made a difference in other people's lives. They came on board and made a difference in their own life. He was in essence, what we call here seva, selfless service. Seva being a Sanskrit word, he just was of service, and he welcomed in that flow. He knew, much like Gringotts Bank, that he had that wizard that was within him, and he could feel grateful not just to something or someone, but he could feel grateful for something, and that he could move forward in faithfulness and gratefulness. He moved forward in his life, and he said to others, I'm taking you with me. I'm taking you, I'm having a good time, I'm joyful, I move through that pain, and I have that passion, and I'm moving into joy. And I'm taking you with me, is what he said. So there's another man who went to the doctor, the same man who was actually here in the story last week, the same man who went to go get a hearing aid, and he was of the very finest kind, mighty fine. He went to the doctor, and he could hear now 100%. And I know some of us have selective hearing, that we may not hear things on purpose. Hopefully not on Sunday mornings or during some of our classes. That class we have this afternoon at 12:30. But he found out he could now hear 100%. And he went back to the hearing doctor, and he says, boy, I'm just having a great time. I can hear all what's going on. And he says, boy, your family must be so happy. Your family must be so overjoyed that you can converse with them and communicate. And he says, well, I haven't really told them yet that I can hear. And I've changed my will 3 times. He too was able to change his faithfulness and his gratitude. I am very, very grateful. There are things manifesting right here without even asking. We as a community are open and receptive to the wonderful things that are going on. We've just inherited a lending library of over 1,000 high consciousness books from the Center for Consciousness Education. Yeah, thanks to Wendy Foxworth and a number of volunteers who brought them. A lot of them are in the conference room, and I'm very, very grateful. And so it's a lending library. It's on the honor system, and to know that we have that resource and that it's not exhaustible, it's infinite, because it just keeps on giving, keeps on living, like the Timex, and that's turned into a Rolex. It just keeps on living. So I know that we keep on living, and that we have this ease and this place, and knowing that we absolutely show up in both of the challenges and both of the joys, that we continue to show up in that faithfulness and that gratitude, because we are faithful and we are grateful. So I invite us to be in this faithfulness and this gratitude, and to join for a moment of inner celebration, and to relax into the calm assurance and the confidence in knowing that there is this celebration of joy, that there is this movement in the celebration of life, knowing that there is the richness of being, there is the infinite potential, and the possibilities which flow. And knowing that there is this glow and this flame that is ignited, and knowing that there is this beautiful flame in the warmth of our hearts, there is this glow and this inner knowingness and this calm confidence and poise and assurance and that strength, knowing that being backed by Spirit, it is always Spirit showing up as spirits in our feelings, in our thoughts, in our true actions, and knowing that there is the beauty which provides, and knowing that all needs are truly met, and that Spirit is the absolute source. There is this prosperizing good, and it is harmonious, it is in balance, and coming into the true balance in our lives, knowing that there is the optimum and the very best that is happening right here and right now. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for this beautiful opportunity to be in the flow, and to know that there is these beautiful gifts which is very present and very presence in our hearts. And it shows up in, through, as, and all around each and every one of us. And I release this word into the action of the law, knowing it is divine action, it is divine true action in the highest and best way. And so be it, and so it is. And please join in a few moments of stillness as the practitioners rise up.